Hello, good evening, welcome along to the JACKOCAR Cup Series in what is now officially our last ever season. You may well have seen on Twitter, even though we've gone back and forth, are we doing more? No, we're not. This is this is season 11, round 11. It's the final season when we are back here in USA Short. We've not been here for a very, very long time, and a lot of the drivers have not been here for a very long time. I suspect some may have even forgotten it exists, which should make this an exciting race. But also, only I care about this. Not even Jacko cares about this. None of the drivers have even noticed. Today is the 20th of February 2025, which makes this 5 years to the day since the very first Cup Series race. I thought that was quite a big deal, considering we made all sorts of celebrations for the 100th race and various other statistics. OKK got a graphic the other week for hitting 200 races. This has got nothing. So I'm going to come to the own why. I care about this. There is 6 drivers on the grid tonight. One who's not actually here yet, but there are 6 drivers on the grid for this wet qualifying session who were here on that first race, and I will mention each and every one of them when they're on track, and I'll also mention OKK because he's not here yet, but he was one of those drivers who won that race. Right, that's my bit out of the way. I just thought it was worth a mention, and no one else did. So I'm going to come to the own way. With me, I've got Jacko, who's had so much time to put out a tweet, which I bet hasn't said celebrating our 5th birthday, has it?
I've had 5 whole years, but happy birthday to JACKOCAR. It's actually not the birthday of JACKOCAR. It's the birthday or the anniversary of our first live broadcast. We actually date back to sometime in late October of 2019, but I don't want to correct you with your big moment and all your speech.
I mean, if you're going to be pedantic, I did make it clear this is the Cup Series birthday, not the league's birthday, so suck it.
Oh, very well. Anyway, we are back in Texas, as you say, the short track. However, we should get very acclimatized to coming to different American states. This, as you alluded to, Owen, is the very last ever season of JACKOCAR as we know and love it, as we move to NASCAR, which is what we always wanted to be. So we are very much looking forward to that, whether it's later on this year or early 2026. Once this season is over, the hybrid era of JACKOCAR is done forever. Thank God I can have a break. And then I can start all over again with some NASCAR stats. Anyway, it's raining, it's Texas, it's prime time, it's short track, it's JACKOCAR at its absolute best. And Jamie Griffiths is back on track for the first time in a handful of races.
Yes, Jamie Griffiths out in red and white, which is not common for him, it has to be said. I sort of more associate him with basically any other colour on the spectrum, but alas, he's the first car out, and you will have already seen he got the chicanes completely wrong, and we will ride on board for the first lap because it is worth keeping an eye on this track layout. You cut off basically the back straight here on the short layout. It's not actually that short. The pole times here from the last 2 times we were here were Arnold 1 minute 5.2, that was in season 2, and then Khalifa took half a second off that with a 1:04.7, that was in season 3. So in the wet, I'm expecting add another sort of 10ish seconds. So we're actually still going to be going slower than the likes of Brazil, which means a 56 lap race here will be a bit of a marathon, especially if it does rain. So the drivers, I hope they've been doing their practice as Jamie Griffiths comes through into the S section. It is relatively normal up until turn 6, where you do have to brake a bit harder and turn left, and then the chicane here, you can basically sort of straight line it, but you've got to properly slow down before turn 9. You only lose 2 corners, I believe, on this layout, actually, funnily enough. So this is now turn 10 rather than turn 12, and it is just the standard layout from here till the end. Jamie obviously went off the track completely on his first try with this, so he's already done a bit better for the actual lap itself, and also a bit of wet running. We haven't actually seen too much of it, have we, this season? We always see it teased, but never actually come to fruition, so yeah, new sort of experiences for all the drivers in various ways here. As coming round the final corner will come Jamie Griffiths, and yeah, we're actually more than 10 seconds off the last pole position time here. It's almost 13 seconds as Jamie Griffiths goes to a 1:17.3. I expect that time to drop, but I do feel this could be one of those days, Jacko, where we do see a surprise pole sitter.
A surprise pole sitter and hopefully a surprise winner. However, not to dampen the spirits as we watch Dustin Rocco go round. It is going to be a dry race. I've been informed by a certain Mr. Barry Baldwin. As Dustin kicks the rear out, there's already yellow flags. Looks like Jamie Griffiths has gone off on his in lap. But yes, it is going to be a hell of a long race. It's a bit like Paul Ricard, like he cut out all those corners that we do on the speedway, and then we still that's an invalidation, isn't it?
Yeah.
Cut out all those corners. That ends up being over an hour does the race. But yeah, never mind. Dustin 19th in the championship in a must-win situation with 2 races to go of the regular season. It's going to be a long old drag for him until we get into the postseason. Next up is Robin Border.
I'm liking the new livery design here for Robin, although we may have had it on Tuesday. Obviously, me and Jacko both weren't here on Tuesday, but it's his usual colours here for Robin, but in a much nicer sort of format. So I'm a fan of this in the number 22 machine. As he comes round the final corner, he's going to get nowhere near Jamie Griffiths' time, 2.1 seconds off the pace. And yeah, I didn't think Jamie's lap was all that strong, to be honest. He kept it all facing in the right direction, though, but the rear end was really kicking out. But yeah, no one's got near him so far as Leroy heads round now.
Nice livery as well. To be fair, Owen, none of the talented drivers have gone out yet. I mean, Leroy is probably the best of the bunch so far. And whilst I think of it, we should probably thank Jess for filling in for both of us on Tuesday night. We had a shocker, both of us.
We did a bit, yeah.
You were late. I had internet issues, but luckily Jess was there. She's been busy, actually, most of the season. Every time I've asked her, do you want to race, can you commentate? She's, sorry, I got one hub. No, it's a shit about one hub, Jess. You know where your bed is made. Anyway, P1, Leroy Hazelager. Next up, Maya.
Should actually as well be pointed out that Jess is one of the people who was here on day 1 of the Cup Series 5 years ago. So I don't know. It wasn't intended, but Jessica Harmon went on the 5th anniversary week. Not that anyone else cares, not that she'll have noticed, but yeah, she was part of it, I suppose. So there you go.
Jess famously forgotten as well in the season 10 build-up when I said thank you to Linda for being the first woman to help us on a production day. I was very quickly reminded that Jess was also a part of the 4 or 5 beforehand that we did, so never mind. That's my bad. Michael OKK hasn't joined, so there's a bit of a gap here to Ben Harrett.
Yes, he has actually just joined, but maybe a minute too late. So Michael, we won't see him until the race, but yes, we will mention him. He was the winner of the first JACKOCAR race, although we do seem to mention that every week anyway, so it's not really news to anyone that, but it means we can move on to Ben Harrett, who's running his usual colours again, except he's substituted the white for the black. Don't know what the reasoning is for this, but I kind of preferred it when it was white. I feel like it stood out a bit more. But hey ho, We'll follow him round anyway and see how he gets on. Leroy top by just under 300ths of a second, and you can see Ben really doesn't look particularly confident there for the S. He's looked a bit lost, didn't he?
Yeah, it's shocking, but then again, he is very open about not enjoying this game. I told him to shut up and get on with it, and he has done, although not very well. Ben Harrett, another one of those drivers in a must-win situation, simply here just waiting now for the postseason to start. Will grab what he can in terms of playoff points, but points are becoming very elusive in this latter part of the regular season, which can be wrapped up tonight by Corey Dalton. I think he's just simply got to outscore Johannes and Jake. Finish just I think it's 3 or 4 points ahead of him, and then it is done for Corey. That'll be 12 playoff points going his way. Not that he needs them. Ben Harrett over the line, only P3 for now, which puts us on to Sullivan Lewis One of those, Owen, who was here on day one and he's invalidated.
Hold on a minute, hold on. Baza, before him, on my list anyway, who was here on day one. And he actually was here on day one.
Yeah, we have
Sullivan,
we have the same list, and I was wrong.
Yes, because I don't think Sullivan actually appeared in that first race, unless he had a different username on that given day. But Baza definitely did, as he comes around the final corner, and he's now obviously our lobby host, and he gets that 2-second advantage on the race start. Or at least he did on F1 24. I don't know if it actually comes over to 2020, but anyway, our lobby host here from day one as well goes P4, and yeah, let's say risky. He's invalidated this time, as you said, but he wasn't actually on the list, I don't think, for race one. I've done some research.
Well, he was definitely a season one full timer. He may have had a classic holiday. He seems to like starting the seasons with a holiday or two. Not something I can do, of course. I tend to have mine mid-season. We shall move on to Mike Kelterborn. He's a day one driver. He was the day one pole sitter.
Indeed, yes. And he's only a two-time winner as well, isn't he, in the Cup Series? You wouldn't have thought that after how the first race was. The first race was seriously an outlier, with OKK winning it, Whiteout. Connor Barrs almost won that race as well. It was very much... he was a joker driver that day, in fairness, but it was a very strange race, as everyone sort of got used to the way the game worked. But yes, Mike, he's come for it all. He won Baku in that first season, and he won Canada a couple of seasons ago as well. Another race that Connor Barrs, I think, really should have won. But, oh well,
should have.
It's his loss, isn't it, as Mike heads round. He's already been on the podium this season, of course. He finished second in Singapore, and he finds himself just 1 point outside of the top 10. Of course, the top 10 drivers do qualify for the playoffs. And I wonder if tactics may come into play. Will he fancy a chase run as he crosses the line and goes P4 for now, just behind Ben Harrett?
Yeah. Next up, Pete Knighton, who has invalidated, running JACKOCAR colours. Maybe that's to celebrate the anniversary of our first ever live broadcast.
Yes.
But he told me the other day, Owen, that the luck hasn't changed, as you may well have noticed. However, the pace is back. He was saying he very much could have won Hungary if things went his way. They didn't go his way, and we are now, hold on, let me get the number, 172 races deep into waiting for a Pete Knighton win. It may become 173 if this lap is not anywhere near the top.
Yeah, it would have been
Pete Knighton,
P1.
a day one driver, and but he's confident, so hopefully he can get a win in one of the last 10 races that we have remaining.
Well, let's say he would have gone P1 with that time, but it was invalid as Pete heads on. Yes, he is in JACKOCAR colours. I did ask the chat earlier on if some people may fancy putting some JACKOCAR colours on, considering it was the 5th anniversary, but I didn't think anyone saw it, but he must have done. So fair play, thank you to Pete for caring. Here's Gareth Hall. He doesn't care. He's the Jacko Ball boss really these days, and well, I had my first loss inflicted on me on Wednesday. Not really a massive surprise. Been to Miami, but I was only Portland Timbers. I mean, what do you want me to do? I had Martinelli up front, so I mean, what can you do? But anyway, Gareth, he runs all that side of things, and well, once again, he appears to have tripped into a top 10 position this season. He's 6 points clear of the bottom half, and well, he just seems to keep. He's going to go fastest here as well. That's not going to help, is it? He just seems to keep himself in there. And Gareth, he has gone fastest by 0.2 of a second. So that's not going to help the whole chase campaign. Maybe he should just go full send once again for the playoffs, because Kieran couldn't beat him. Kieran, who's obviously fighting Jamie Wright in the chase or the club called shootout, but we'll mention that later on, because let's actually see how Jamie gets on with his lap. And you're making noises. Is that his original livery as well, Jamie Wright? He was also here on day one.
I think it might be. He was also here on day one as a reserve driver.
Indeed.
You may remember.
I think it might have been his only appearance in that first race. Yeah, might have been his only appearance that season. I feel like.
I think he had 2 or 3 from memory. He didn't start winning races until season 2. But yeah, Jamie Wright had an awful off there, and that relates with the time posted, a 1:18, puts in P7. Yeah, but Gareth, he's pointed out to us earlier, he's the only driver in the top 12 without a playoff point.
Where have you gone, Ben? I tell you what, all of Gareth's rivals are slightly falling by the wayside here, because there's absolutely no way Ben Shaw is going fastest with that off, down at turns 6, 7 and 8. So, yeah, that's exciting times with Gareth. We don't often see him up at the top at this stage of play. And we did actually mention that club car shootout. Kieran currently leads that 14 points to 4. He obviously had his Joker last week in Hungary, took advantage of that, got a decent result, finishing 3rd, I believe. But yeah, Kieran 2nd here, and Jimmy Wright 7th. He's got a lot of work to do if he wants to win those extra playoff points that you get for winning the club card shootout duel, as it's called. And now here comes Ben. If it wasn't for the off, he'd have gone P1. That gives the rest a bit of hope, because he really was way off, so there's time to be found out there. Not by Tony, though. He's also invalidated his time.
I don't want to say, but it might be too early, but I'm checking anyway. Has Gareth Paul ever had a pole in the Cup Series? The answer is no. Maybe that day is today. As you said, it won't be Tony, and it leaves us, Owen, with 4 drivers left, the first of which is Arnaud Degree, who has put JACKOCAR colours on.
Another original, the
Not
last
very well.
original on this grid. Oh, he's going to
Oh,
go!
spin!
Wow! Gareth keeps seeing his rivals fall. This is very much reminiscent of Silverstone all the way back in season 2 and 3. I think when season 2 it must have been when Riley got pole on his birthday, if you remember.
Yeah, it was Riley.
And it was rainy conditions, and the drivers all losing it at turns 1 and 2, and well, they're all falling by the wayside here. So let's see how Johannes gets on. Only 3 drivers to go here. No Joker drivers, remember, tonight, because it's a 100% race. There's no way you'd make it work, so Jacko's just told everyone you can't do it. But Johannes, well, he knows he's only got a 17 dead to beat. I would have thought he should be able to do that, but let's see if he can keep it within the track limits. And
I hope he doesn't.
well, I hope he doesn't, but I'm sure he may hope differently, because he finds himself 20 points behind Corey Dalton in the regular season championship. So if he wants a chance at winning the regular season championship, he needs this car to be pointing at the front of the grid. But this is what I was saying. Anyone who's not practiced this track may just be caught off guard, and I think we are somewhat saying that with Gareth being well, right up at the top. Johannes looks relatively under control though in this lap. I don't think it's the most confident lap. You can see he's really struggling for grip with the triple right-hander, but I would suspect everyone's had this same sort of grip. 17 dead to beat then. He looks like he's pretty much on target to do so. But let's see, round the final corner. No, hasn't done it.
He's not.
He's not done it.
And now, what, Owen? Jake O'Sullivan is 100% coming into this race with no practice. He told me earlier. He's been at work all day, and he got back at 17 minutes past the hour. So I don't expect Jake to challenge Gareth's pole lap. So it's really Corey is the only man who may even stand a chance, but we'll stay with Jake and see if he can do anything at all. The answer looks like it's going to be no.
It does,
slower than Johannes through sector 2, and I think that might be curtains for Jake.
Well, we'll watch the end of the lap.
Let's stay with him.
Let's see if anything changes. But I agree with you. This doesn't look. This is going to be way down the grid.
Yeah,
P7 only, yeah, that's no good.
It's not bad. He will take that.
Well,
so
we're going to ride on board
Corey,
here.
then.
Riding on board with Corey Dalton. Bit slippy slidey through turns 4, 5, 6. A bit wide at 7 and 8 as well. I mean, it's a bit laggy actually. That may not have been as bad as it looked, because he did respawn back on the apex. But you can see the conditions are very difficult to drive in, as Corey sort of slivers round the track here. 1 minute 17 dead to beat. Like I say, I'm surprised that the pole position time currently sits more than 12 seconds off of what we had last time. It is only intermediate conditions. But as Corey comes round, he knows his 2 rivals haven't had the best qualifying. And
it's slow.
I think he's on target actually. He's about 8/10 quicker than Jake, and Jake didn't have the best last sector. This might just be enough for Corey to stick this on pole. I know you don't want it to happen. No one does. But let's see. Is he going to do it? Of course he is. Corey Dalton has ruined the day, and he's gone on to pole position. Just a 10th ahead of Gareth Hall, who finds himself parked on the front row, who's got the inside line in towards turn 1. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't have a wee look at least on the inside, because especially after Spain, he got a bit sick of all the front runners taking the mick out of him and hitting him off and causing him incidents. And I think since then, he would very much like to be the one causing them problems. But it is Corey on pole position, and that gets him another playoff point.
Is that Honduras?
Don't know, actually. Can't really tell. It might. Do you know what? I will ask Gareth. I don't actually know what flag that is. But who cares? It's up in second place. Ahead of, we'll quickly just run through the order. Kieran, Ben Shaw, Johannes, Leroy, Jamie Griffiths. All those top 7 within just under 4/10 of a second. Very impressive. And Jake, Ben Harrett, Mike, Jimmy Wright, Bazza, Florian, Robin, Arnaud, and then the guys I know times. Risky, Tony, Dustin, Pete, and OKK, who was late.
Despite the heartbreaking result there, Gareth Hall, that is his best ever qualifying. And also that Gareth's flag is El Salvador.
Well, there you go. Who knew he had that connection? I bet he didn't. What's taking so long? Why are we still sat here?
I don't think he does.
Nothing's happening on my side.
Don't have those.
Yeah, I know. We might be here until after 9 o'clock. I said that slightly jokingly. We'll be here until after 9 o'clock. What's going on? Oh, apparently it's whose fault is it?
Jamie Numbers
Apparently
needs
Jamie
to
Numbers.
retire.
Well, this is exciting stuff, isn't it? This is the pitfalls of F1 2020, where things do tend to go a bit wrong from time to time. So I don't know. We're gonna have to hold fire here a little bit. While we do that, I'll tell you about the Jimmy Griffiths is leaving the session now, so maybe that's going to solve the problem. But while we wait for that to sort itself out, obviously we have had 2 races here in the past in F1 2020. Those races were won by Arnaud in Season 2, followed by Kyle and Jamie. That was the podium that day. And then Season 3's race was won by Samba in his only appearance, ahead of Janel and Arnaud. So Arnaud's the only one here. He has a 100% record in terms of finishing on the podium. And apparently it was Jamie Wright's fault the entire time, because the second he leaves, this lobby is now getting moving. So, I don't know. Hopefully he gets back in time for the race start. And also, actually, as well, stages. Laps 12 and 30. Quite an early second stop, really, this week, isn't it? That's just after the halfway point, which gives you a whole 27-lap stint at the end. Maybe on mediums, possibly on hards. Like I say, it's not actually that short of a track for a short layout, but obviously the tyres behave differently in a 100% race. So we will see. We'll see how that plays out. This will be a very sort of unique situation, this, because I don't think anyone realistically knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just sharing some messages with Gareth Hall, telling him that Corey has severely annoyed me with what he's just done. So everything you've just said, Owen, I don't know.
You weren't listening to.
No, but what I can say is it's JACKOCAR in its homeland, sort of, in Texas, and we are very excited for that. The tyre, you were talking about tyres, that they do behave differently, but I don't know how differently, because obviously I'm now retired.
Yes,
and I can't remember what happened back in the day.
No, I can't remember myself. By the way, hello to the chat. I was told off for this when me and Jacko played each other in Jacko Bond Stream, and I didn't bother to say hello to the chat. There are actually 14 people here. Did you all know today is the 5th anniversary of the first JACKOCAR Cup Series race? No, of course you didn't, because no one's bothered to say anything apart from me. Although Jacko did say it in the tweet, mainly because I made him. But yes, I'm aware there's a chat there, so hi, I suppose. I used to, in the ILR days, used to let you just chit-chat to everyone the whole time, because the races were rubbish back then. This is back in F1 2019, where the safety car was disabled because it was broken, so I ended up just talking to the chat the whole race. I couldn't tell you what happened in a single race in that game before we started the Cup Series, but yes. Hi, champ. I'm going to watch the race now. See, that's interesting. The pit stop strategy has absolutely no consideration for the hards whatsoever. So it looks to me like that would suggest that, yeah, the tyres will last plenty long enough. And indeed, no one is even thinking about starting on the hards. In fact, we've only got 5 starting on the mediums. And of course, because it was a wet qualifying, everyone gets a free choice of tyre, which it's a bit of a shame. Although I say that, actually, it hasn't really done much to spice the races up, has it? Having only the top 10 have their qualifying tyre. So letting them all have their own free choice means that we do have a second row consisting of 2 drivers on the mediums, being Kieran and Ben Shaw. Front row of Corey and Gareth are on their softs, and then the other guys on mediums are Baza, Arnaud and Tony. Not a surprise to see Arnaud and Tony wanting to go long, considering they've had a bad qualifying, and they should be able to get towards the front. I'm going to guess, really, the only decent overtaking spot is going to be into turn 1. Although, it was into turns 4, 5 and 6. What season was it? Season 3 or season 4, where we saw, I think it was Ben Shaw make like the overtake of overtakes in JACKOCAR on Jamie Wright. So an overtake we still remember. I think we were riding on board for it live when it happened. So it was very very memorable. So we'll see if we can do anything on these mediums. But the formation lap's already pretty much over. So have you got anything to add? Oh yeah, here's OKK, by the way. Hi OKK. But yes, anything to add?
Anything to add? We're trying desperately to get Jamie Griffiths back in the race. He's in the lobby, but is not currently able to take control of his car, which is a great shame. So it might immediately be down to a 19-car grid. But otherwise, Owen, it's that time again. Thursday night, the home of esports, JACKOCAR, and Austin, Texas, at a short track, with our biggest audience of the season so far. But it's time for you to say 3 little words as we get ready to go racing in Texas.
Here we go then. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing here in Texas. We're halfway through the final season of the Cup Series, and it looks to me like Corey's being attacked by Gareth Hall. Right on the outside he tried, but it's not going to happen as Corey aims to become the regular season champion tonight. Looks to me as well like Kieran's had a poor start, down to 5th place. Ben Shaw now all over the back of his fellow speed driver in Gareth, and it's a Baza front wing has been damaged in the back, so he is going to fall down, and Johannes has had a penalty, and OKK's been wiped out by Jamie Griffiths, and that's a safety car straight away. And that was Jamie Griffiths was completely sideways. I was riding on board with Baza, and Pete Knighton got damaged as well, but OKK, it looked to me like he was a completely innocent bystander and all that, so he's out of the race. Johannes has a penalty for corner cutting and gaining a place, I believe. But yeah, a lap 1 safety car then. And let me just see who's got damage. Arnaud has damage as well. And then we mentioned Jamie Griffiths, and we mentioned Pete Knighton and Baza. Corey continues to lead. Gareth will be second. I'd be very surprised actually to see anyone pit, because I mean the safety car will be in at the end of lap 3, and you might as well wait until the end of lap 4 to make the first pit stop in that case, because at least it gets a mandatory out of the way. And as I say that, Arnaud does pit and sort of ignores me on that. Maybe he'll pit and then go back onto his mediums and just continue with the strategy as normal later on. But he's in now and putting on some softs.
I didn't really see a lot. I certainly didn't see the crash. But what I have done is I've invited OKK to join us in commentary. So we may get his insight shortly. But yeah, early doors safety car. Sad that Gareth isn't leading the way, but he certainly had a go at it, didn't he? Massive block from Corey at the start.
Tony's obliterated his front wing here on the back of Dustin. Sorry to interrupt, but he's obliterated that front wing, and he's got a penalty for his troubles. And I wonder if that's getting called out by the track layout or something, or you know. But anyway, that's massive damage and a penalty for Tony. So he's going to be in this lap, I would have thought, to take that. That's one case where you do take the pit stop. But yes, Tony not having the best start. That's Tony and Arnaud coming a cropper really on that first lap, which is a shame. Jamie, considering he got into an accident, that must suggest he's in the lobby and racing, because an AI probably wouldn't have had the accident that looked like he was having.
Just see if you can work out from the steering input. It does look quite smooth, which may suggest otherwise. Or is just that good? No, it's definitely him.
Yeah. Well,
the AI would not go on that line.
It's a shame as well, because he'd qualified 7th. He'd had a decent qualifying and find himself... Well, he'd find himself at the back before the accident had even happened. So, yeah, maybe he joined mid-first lap. Maybe that's why he suddenly started having an accident. I don't know, but he's going along now. He's ahead of Tony, who has pitted for that new front wing. Like I say, he picked up the penalty as well. You might as well just get this out of the way. I think Dustin also has one, which is a shame, because he didn't... From what I can tell, he did nothing wrong apart from getting run to the back of. So, yeah, nothing really that he can do about that, apart from get to this first pit stop for himself and sort the penalty out. But we are just waiting for Tony to join the back of the pack. He should do so, and then we'll be ready for the restart. Are we going to get anything from Michael Okeke, or is he...
Yes, I have heard from him. He is going to have some food very quickly first, and then he'll join us probably sometime around lap 20 at the speed that these guys will get around here. So he will tell us all about his crash, and then we'll be a 3-man comps team, which isn't that rare. We did 3-man teams for a little bit, especially on Championship 5 nights.
Yes.
And sometimes when drivers have retired in the past. But yes, looking forward to hearing Michael's soothing voice.
I know, it'll be weird not hearing him on FIFA, because he'll be actually calm, composed, normal.
Yeah.
Back,
Screaming when Messi scores.
I know. Or when he doesn't.
Yeah. Come on, ref! He's always like that. Anyway, Owen, restart here in Austin.
And it's a very slow procession here around the last 2 corners, and Gareth will be looking to take advantage of Corey Dalton. He may be able to anticipate this. He's in 3rd gear, ready to put his foot down, and Corey has a bit of a slide, so does Gareth. They both had a bit of a moment on that last corner, and we've already got another yellow flag. I think that's just for cars going slow in the last corner, so that's not going to be an accident. And everything seems to be running relatively normal up towards turn 1. Everyone's behaving themselves this time round. Johannes on the back of Kieran on the ERS. He wants that move. He's made that move. And he's up into P5. Like we say, he does have a penalty, but he'll be able to take that, I believe, in the pits. So it shouldn't be too much of a problem for him. And we can ride on board as he heads through the S's section, which is... pretty much the heart of the middle sector here. You'll see the sector timings have sort of changed, because sector 1 actually ends just on the exit of turn 2 now, and sector 3 starts in the middle of or at the start of the triple right-hander. So just worth pointing that out, just in case anyone gets a bit confused and wonders why the timings are popping up at different times. Tony's passing Baza at the back, and Arnoud's already up to 14th, but at least he's on sauce now. He may be able to make some ground up. But will we see any pit stops at the front? I'd be surprised. Like I say, it's such a long race, so I think people may try to get themselves decently into it. Corey, 2 seconds ahead of Gareth already. That suggests to me that Ben Shaw has got to get a move on. And he's, looking to the inside of turn 1. He really thought about that, but if he takes Gareth Hall out of 2nd place, you're never going to hear the end of it.
I think this one might be worth watching. He did it to Jamie Wright all those years ago, and he's thinking about it, isn't he? But not this time around. By the way, important to note, Pete Knight and Pitt last time by mediums onto softs. So goodness knows what he's planning, but hopefully he can work something out from down there in P19 as we await Michael Okeke. Ben Shaw still stuck behind Gareth Hall as Corey Dalton's lead is now over 3 seconds, and Jake, no practice Jake, still holding on to the back of the Gareth Hall train.
I do wonder when he's going to start complaining about that, because that's his excuse for not winning. That'll be his excuse for bringing the safety car later on, and various other problems that Jake may come across. Although, let's say, you wouldn't be able to tell the lack of practice, apart from qualifying, which was pretty poor. That's 2 laps in a row, by the way, that Ben Harrett has taken the IndyCar line through what's now turn 17, I believe. So that's worth keeping an eye on. I wonder if you can actually get away with that line and yeah, not get any warnings. No, Ben Shaw, round the outside of turn 2. How hard does Gareth fight this? He may have to fight against Jake and he cuts him off. Jake was trying to be cheeky and that could have been an airplane crash, and luckily he backed off just at the last second, but that is Ben Shaw released into second place. And Johannes was really pushing the back of Jake. He may still have a look as well as they head into turn 10. Bit of contact, and Johannes is not able to find a way through. And yeah, look at that lead. 5 seconds for Corey. And
Disgusting, isn't it?
It's quite concerning. But, you know, 1 or 2 people have moaned about this and have, including us too. And have looked at the rules.
Sure have.
And have looked at the rules change. Well, we haven't actually requested our own rules change, but some people are unhappy that he keeps winning races. We'll keep saying it.
Never fastest lap.
We'll keep saying it as Ben pits this lap, Harrod. We'll keep saying it. The playoffs are still to come. This is not guaranteed to be an easy championship, and that's not just me coping. This happens every season, so no need to worry. Jake's ahead of Gareth Hall. That is something to worry about for him, because it means he's now outside of the podium places.
Look at Johannes. What a move that is, Owen!
Well,
wow.
It's the move Jake attempted and failed to do on the last lap on Gareth, but yeah, Gareth was wise to it this time.
And the second down to fourth all have penalties now. Yellow flags out for Jamie Wright. No, he's just getting overtaken. Is it Dustin?
It's for Dustin, I believe, yes. Who's now recovering back onto the track. No damage, so maybe just a small moment for him. I was watching Jamie Wright and Risky were fighting. I believe they still are. Yes, they are. Wheel binding through the triple right-hander, and they've got Arnold catching as well, and Risky. He thought about throwing that up the inside of 17. That would have been very irresponsible, we'll go with, because that would have been an accident. Out of the final corner, this fight will continue up towards turn 1. There are a few other guys close up ahead, but I think Risky's the one most likely for a move, as he have another yellow flag for Dustin, but up the inside goes Risky, and side by side we're going to go down through turn 2. And Risky's ahead of Jamie Wright. Where on earth has the 2-time champion's pace gone this season? I mean, we really thought we might see him winning a few races. It may still happen, but he just doesn't look to have any pace at the moment, does it?
He was complaining earlier on today about just never liking the short tracks. I don't know if he ever won one, but he's certainly not on the pace that he was way back when we get him to a more traditional circuit. Perhaps he will return to the good old days. I mean, he was in the fight on Tuesday in Hungary until it all went wrong for him. Ended up down in P13 that day. But yeah, Jamie Wright not having the best day as he falls down to 10th. Still in the top 10, but Arnold sniffing his backside as he pits. You like that, didn't you?
Yeah.
Frosty Bear's out.
Yeah. He's had...
Safety car.
He's had many, many, many moments. Oh, why? Why would that... Oh, dear. Risky has had such a massive accident there on the back of Mike. They knew the safety car came out, so I don't know how there could be such a difference in speed there. I mean, surely Risky was expecting Mike to hit the brakes, you know, for Delta and stuff, but he just smashed into the back of Mike so hard then. But I was going to say, Dustin's had a few moments in this race, and I think that crash was inevitable. Tony was having to stack behind whoever was pitting ahead of him, either Dustin or Robin. That's worth putting out for later on in the race.
Florian,
but these are mandatory pit stops, of course, so these are worth keeping an eye on. The whole field is going to pack up, so we'll see if anyone can take advantage.
Which it needed.
It did a bit for everyone trying to chase after Corey, although it does have to be said that Corey is very far ahead anyway. We'll see how he handles a second restart, though. He will pit. Will Ben Shaw pit? Because obviously he's on a medium compound tyre. He will stay out. The thing is, you probably could do, according to the game's stats, you probably could actually just about manage 2 runs on the softs to the end. It would be quite risky, but I wonder if anyone is going to try it. Gareth, unsurprisingly, is... of course he's staying out, isn't it? In fact, Corey was pretty much the only front runner to pit. Not surprised that Johanna's pitting because he does have a penalty to take, and he's now taking it. So pretty much we're seeing everyone pitting from what, 8th place? Well, from 6th place down, excluding Jamie Griffiths, Baza. Everyone else has made a mandatory stop. Pete Knighton's was made in green conditions, and then we've got the top 5 as well are all yet to make a first stop. I hope that makes sense. And yeah,
I'm with you.
Yeah, thank goodness.
I can confirm, Owen, that Jamie Griffiths is in control of this car. And the other thing, we're going to see how good Corey Dalton actually is now, because these guys in front of him are not going to make his life easy. If you look at the names that are in front of him, that's all you need to know about how his next few laps are going to go, especially the first one, Mike Kelterborn. But what will Jamie Griffiths do from behind? But so I'm looking forward to the restart. Corey might be in trouble here. I sense an end plate going missing. I don't like to say stuff like that.
There was actually, that was what I was going to pick up on. There was actually an end plate line on the exit of the final corner. I was wondering who it belonged to. Maybe Dustin got a puncture or something like that. Maybe that's why he ended up in the wall in the end. But someone's front wing was definitely missing. But obviously, the safety car then came out and loads of people pitted. So whoever's it was, they must have it sorted. Because I don't think it's anyone at the front. Otherwise, they probably would have pitted for it. Risky, you will see, of course, he's now at the back after smashing his front wing to pieces on the back of Mike. Who must have picked up a penalty, actually. No, he didn't actually, okay. I thought he may have picked a penalty after being hit, similar to how Dustin got a penalty for being hit by Tony, but no, he's only got 3 seconds. Interesting that some already have 6 seconds of penalties out there. At the rate Leroy and Jamie Griffiths are going, they're headed for a DSQ. And we have seen it before, especially on a track like this, where if you pick up, 30 seconds worth of penalties, it's game over. So that genuinely, that's worth keeping an eye on.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just looking at the penalties actually. Gareth Hall doing well to not get one. I think the race would be a little bit more exciting if Corey did get one. I will check on the old race director for you, Owen. See what Corey has done. Just the one warning for the championship leader. And as it stands, he is going to be regular season champion. Safety car in this lap. Ben Shaw will get us back underway. Just whilst we're on the topic of Ben Shaw, you know we always talk about Pete Knighton and how many wins, how many races it's been since he won. Let's not forget about Ben Shaw here. 33. Now that's a long time ago.
That's a very long time ago, isn't it?
Sure is, and I believe that was when he won it in Vegas. No, it would be a lie. Very sorry, he did win 2 races in season 9. One in Monza, the other here in the USA.
Well, he will lead the restart here in USA, and he'll lead it from Gareth Hall, who I'm sure would love to stick it up his inside again, but let's see what the run's like. It's actually a much better run for Kieran Spears, but again, the top 3 all stay in line. They always look like they have an opportunity, but then no one really goes for it. But here's Leroy going for it on Kieran Spears. Nearly hits the back of Gareth. That's what I think they call a perfect overtake. Brilliantly done. And now Mike Kelterborn is coming through on Kieran, and Kieran been mugged a bit off that restart. He is on medium, so he's going to be going further than these guys into the race, but still he'd rather be ahead of them than behind, because that means he now has to deal with Corey Dalton, who has Jamie Griffiths behind him, who I wouldn't have thought would be too much of a problem. But if Johannes can get past Jamie Griffiths, then it'd be something worth watching. Also, Arnaud, he can see these guys now. He's very close, and he's making an overtake on Jake and ahead of him into 10th place. Gareth Hall is fighting for the race lead. But he hasn't.
This is for a stage point as well, don't forget, lap 12.
Oh, that's got crash written all over it. Let's keep it clean.
He doesn't have a playoff point yet as well this season, remember that.
Really wants one.
I wonder if Ben Shaw lets him have it.
MK Bourne's had an accident, I think, but just behind Ben Shaw for Gareth Hall. Shame. VSC is out. I did see a yellow flag, possibly for Mike. Yes, he's lost most of his front wing, so I wonder if that's what's caused it. Leroy was in the pits as well, also for a new front wing. But yeah, that's, I think, the big story. Arnaud, who's ahead of Jake on this lap, and finds himself, he's got 3 cars in between himself and Corey, as we are now joined under this virtual safety car by Mr. Michael Okeke. Have you got your mic on share? Or even on? Who knows? Oh, Johannes! Johannes always...
Permission to speak granted, Michael Okeke.
Yes, as Johannes really hits the back of Jimmy Griffiths. Hello, Michael. Who I still can't hear, but I assume he's here. Maybe it's just taking ages like it does any time I join a party these days.
You can't hear me.
I can hear you now.
Sweet. Thank you for the invite. And this is my debut in here. It's in the comms box. Thought the VSC is a good time to switch over.
Well, the VSC has now ended, and we are following Gareth Hall. He very nearly got the lead in that last lap, but maybe disappointingly he backed out of it. Kieran's got an almighty train behind him now, though, because Corey hasn't got past him yet, and I think he may have been expecting it. And I'm looking from behind Johannes, and Arnaud's all over the back of Baza. I'm telling you, this could be Arnaud's. It's looking more and more like Arnaud has a realistic chance here.
And here goes Corey as Kieran goes wide, Owen. But Corey did not send it like I thought he would.
Oh, he's
got
got
to do this time. Oh, it's deep. And Kieran comes straight back through. By the way, Michael Okeke can be heard on stream, so welcome once again to the commentary box. As JB Griffiths up the inside of Kieran. Oh.
Sorry, Joe. It looks like Arnaud picked up damage trying to get past Baza. His front right end plate is gone.
And when it calms down, do tell us what happened on lap 1, unless Owen's already asked about that.
I've not asked
I
yet.
will. I'll wait till it's like you see when it's calm.
So Jimmy Griffiths pits with front wing damage. We saw him pick that up, fighting against Kieran and Johannes. He was lucky not to pick up damage of his own. But yes, Arnaud also pitting with his damage, which is a shame because I was just hyping him up. But that does sort of allow Jake O'Sullivan back into play, because it looked like he was falling away. He still is somewhat. He's now passing Baza, and that puts him on the back of Johannes now. I'm surprised how many moves we're seeing on the outside of turn 2, but we're now approaching your crash site, Michael. It looked to me like it was Jamie Griffiths. He sort of spun into your path, and that's what took you out. Is that correct?
That is correct. I didn't know if he actually spun, but he was lagging quite badly, and I just had nowhere to go through that little chicane section. Surprisingly, it felt like the hit from him was harder than the hit on the wall, but the wall just decided my wheel was going to come off, and that was the end of that.
Heartbreak. It always seems to be you, Michael, as well. We talk a lot about Pete and...
well, you're saying about Pete. Have you seen what's happened to him on this lap?
He's just pitted.
His front wing's been pulverised is what's happened on this lap.
Mr. Okeke, 157 races now without a win in the Cup Series. We've got 10 races to go. Can you get one?
I think I can. We still have to visit Japan, if I'm right.
You are correct. Yep.
I'm sure, I know there's some jokers there, but
here we go.
Track, so.
It's Corey Dalton here making a lot of contact with Gareth Hall, or should I say Gareth Hall making a lot of contact with Corey Dalton and more as his front wing goes flying. Not really too sure what he thought he was going to achieve there, Gareth, but well, it's lost him. His front wing has lost no one else anything. So Johannes gets himself past Kieran, and we have another VSC. We're running very low on safety car slots here. And I don't know what's caused this one, but has Risky managed to have another big accident under a VSC? He's been perhaps hit by Baza because some penalties have come up, and he's into the pits again. And a few are into the pits. Ben, as you say, in the pits. Gareth, Kieran, Risky, Baza have damage. Jamie Wright stays out, but yeah, a fair handful in the pits.
It does leave us with only one safety car remaining,
There's
whether
a
that be
100%
VSC
race.
or
Do we get one extra?
Oh, that's a very good point. I'm sure somebody in the chat will be able to tell us, unless my... That's awful.
Slightly disappointed to see Corey Dalton back in leader this race, but we're not technically allowed
Yeah,
to say that.
it's depressing, isn't it?
As
You can say what you want. It's our last season.
as we go back to green here, and Corey, well, he's probably going to clear off, isn't he, again? He's already 2.2 cents ahead of Johannes and of Jake, but they both have penalties. Jamie Wright is going to be clawing some points back on Kieran Spears when it comes to the chase duel as it stands. Kieran 10 points ahead in that, so Jamie, he needs to catch the points up because it's 10 playoff points on the line, and that will be decided after Austria. Both of these drivers are still actually not confirmed for the playoffs as well, so regardless of where you end up, playoffs or chase, those 10 points are quite important, and they both have 3 playoff points apiece, I think, this season, so they could do with them, so it is worth keeping an eye on. So Jamie runs P4 for 9. That is legit. That was thanks to the safety car. We haven't really seen where he came from, to be honest, but he's 4th and with no penalties, so it's going quite well. Tony and Jamie Griffiths are having a fight out there on track, and Tony can't get past Jamie Griffiths, actually. I thought he might have had the move done, but Jamie fighting back. Tony doesn't seem to be particularly strong on this track, which is a shame. Even more of a shame he didn't perform like this in FIFA yesterday, but oh well, what can you do?
By the way, Owen, you are correct. Jamie and Kieran both on 3 playoff points, but you don't need me to tell you that, because clearly you've read the stats. Because I've given up these days.
I know, someone has to take over.
Chat a load of rubbish, don't we? Yeah.
We're very good at it.
But there you go. Yes, absolutely. Hey, and Michael Okeke, it's good that you're here to witness the absolute trollop that we have to put up with these days with Corey rushing away in the lead. It's the same story every week. It's a little bit boring. What's it like down in the bottom end of the grid? Is it exciting or is it boring for you as well?
Oh, I tell you what, it's been hard work this season. I feel like every race has been hard work to even try and just stick with some of the mid-track. I feel like it's changed up quite a bit with respectfully, drivers that maybe aren't normally towards the front of the field. Yuri, Mike are kind of rediscovering the season 1, season 2 kind of form and pushing up right, and they've left me for dead, so I've got to step it up really to try and mix it in with those kind of guys.
And do you think that is a pace issue, or just a transition from a modern game to an old game?
It's maybe transition. I think I probably struggled a lot with the damage model. I think naturally I seem to manage to find myself in amongst it, and any kind of tap or scrape and I'm further back. But I think also track wise I've managed to miss a lot of the tracks that I like and do more of the street circuits, which aren't my favourite. So yeah, a mix of things, but hoping the end of this regular season and the post season can be where I step it up.
And we can openly tell you, because me and Owen see it every week, and we are all friends here, the spins in qualifying, the awful qualifying that we see from you. If you ever watch any of the streams back, the disappointment in our voices, you'll be familiar with. So yeah. If you've got a target for the next 10 races is to score a top 10 as we have a retirement, Owen White, but who for?
Well, it's Mike Kelterborn who's had a spin.
It's not even a
on
full safety car.
On the exit of turn 10, Mike's had a spin and he's hit the inside wall. And yes, somehow that is only a VSC. I wasn't going to complain too much about it. I didn't even think it was enough to take him out of the race, to be honest. It looked like quite a light hit into the wall, but I only got a very late look at it. But before that crash happened, we did see Jake O'Sullivan overtaking Johannes for second. But they're both still... They were about the 4 seconds behind Corey when the VSC came out. Those times should fix themselves. We also saw Ben Shaw and Robin having a wee scrap, but yeah, that's what you've missed while we've been chatting to Michael, who, yes, we are very used to the disappointment of seeing you crash in qualifying, but I'm sure we've gotten slightly we've gotten slightly used to it now. Whose fault was Vietnam?
Okay.
It wasn't you that caused the pilot in Vietnam, was it? It was Kieran, but I think you got involved in it in qualifying. That was probably the height of
it was Kieran.
The height of qualifying this season, so I don't think we'll be able to top that even on the new NASCAR game. But yes, we're used to it now.
I'll try and change that.
Well, Japan is on the 27th of March, so you've got just under a month to work out how you're going to win that one. And in fairness, you nearly won there. What was it? Season 1, you nearly won there, but it was TC overtook you like 3 laps to go.
Yeah.
So you are good there, like. So we'll hope for success as Florian's been off the road on the exit of turn 2.
Some say, Michael, if you get another podium in the Cup Series, then the Cup Series will continue for a 12th season.
Okay, I like
who said that?
It's a good thing we're already on the way out the door, isn't it? Oh, who said that?
Yeah.
We'll be waiting in the right
All eyes on JACKOCAR and NASCAR now.
I've got to step up in JACKOCAR as well.
Likewise.
I've got to step up now as well after being beaten by Tony. I'm not going to win the league this season. It's disastrous. We're all losers here, as it turns out.
Yeah, and that's why we're here and not racing on track, as Corey dominates still by 4.7 seconds. Jake O'Sullivan, I don't know if you caught it, Owen, but he is now past Johannes, but bringing him with him. However, neither of them are making inroads into the lead as Arnaud sets the fastest. Ben Shaw, after his stop, is up to P6 and hunting down ever so happy Mr. Ben Harrott. I've worked out, actually, the last few months he's been awfully miserable, and that's because Tottenham are shit.
Arnaud's gone for a spin.
That's a bad choice, isn't it?
Oh, don't come back on track
That's
like
a dangerous
that!
rejoin. You can't do that.
And he still couldn't even get it back onto the track. Oh dear, that's Arnaud who hit Florian, and then he nearly had Leroy's head off, really. It was a very clumsy rejoin that was. I don't know what he was thinking, but
Shocking.
he's at the back of the field. You would not think he has been on the podium here in 2 races, would you? Back on F1 2020, winning in Season 2. I don't know what's happened to him today, but it's just not going his way whatsoever. That was a Florian who has front wing damage as well, so it was a really unnecessary accident that to have. We've got a bit of a freeway scrap beginning, by the way. We've got the 2 Bens and Kieran have all sort of closed up on each other, and Ben Harrod certainly has the worst tyres of, well, anyone in the field at the moment, but certainly the 2 behind him have 8-lap newer tyres, and Kieran, the softer compound, of course, as well, so this should be an interesting scrap. We are aiming for lap 30 for the end of the second stage, by the way. Then we'll start seeing our final pit stops from lap 31 onwards as Gareth picks up a penalty.
That's your cue, Michael.
Oh, is it now?
Oh, sorry. Oh, I'm not used to this. Apologies.
It's like, you know what? I won't talk. I'll just let Michael say something.
It's a good thing it's a good thing we're all telepathic here, isn't it?
We're so good at it.
Oh dear.
But yeah, no. If you see something, do bring it up, Mr. OKK. Not that there's a lot going on.
Not that there's anything going on. I think is the nice way to say it, isn't it? But well, nothing's actually even happened in the fight between the Bens and Kieran. Yeah, we're sort of hoping for a bit of accident to turn 1, but I'm wondering if Kieran's lack of penalties is just making him try and play the sensible game here. Which, I mean, you can't blame him for, but I would like a little... Oh, he's got a penalty. Right, go for it, Kieran. I've jinxed you completely. That's your cue. Start making some overtakes. Come on. As Ben Shaw goes quite wide.
Ben's falling back as well.
This is it, yeah. He was way up at the front of the grid, but he's just sort of not now, is he? He's just sort of stagnated a little bit. it's hard to sort of see where it's all going to work out because there were so many front wings got lost on that second safety car restart, and it has sort of ruined the race, hasn't it? But like, you know, what can you do? As it looks to me like Corey's about to be caught. Oh no, Arno's about to be caught by Corey, which could be interesting. I don't know how much these two like each other. I mean, they are teammates, but I mean, they do seem to be fighting more often than not, so I wonder if this will be an easy let him through moment or not. As Ben Shaw comes through.
I was going to say, ERT do like a squabble though, don't they?
We do,
and
yeah.
Regardless of the fact Arnold is 17th, hopefully he brings some tears, because we could really do with them.
So, Ben Harrett has lost out to both Ben Shaw and Kieran Spears. What surprises me, we have seen so many moves, and in fairness, you wouldn't see it on normal Texas because you've got to hold back straight to make moves, but we've seen so many moves on the exit of turn 2 into the entry of turn 3. And, yeah, they seem to be very confident with it. As Bazza picks up a penalty, and looks like Jamie and Florian are having a scrap down in 13th and 14th. Florian, who's still struggling with that front wing damage. I'm trying to see if Corey's any closer to Arnold. It's just about 2-3 seconds, that gap, so it shouldn't be a concern. Jake and Johannes are not catching, and Jamie Wright as well. They're all sort of stagnated where they are, as Kieran gets himself past Ben Shaw, and that's up into 5th place.
Mr. Wyatt?
Yes.
Would you care to ask what I'm currently doing?
Okay. Jacko, what are you currently doing?
Well, Owen, it's funny you should ask such a question, because as it happens, I'm actually trying to see if there's a way to kick Corey from the session to make it interesting.
Right.
However, where I'm not the host, I don't think I can do such a thing, which is a great shame. So yeah, that's what I'm doing right now.
Nice to see the Jacko of our office is being put to good use then.
Absolutely. Oh dear.
So, speaking of which, he's actually...
to the massive viewers, because this is not normal. It's normally a lot better.
Yes, it is. Come on. We've seen this season. This is very much become the norm. We're starting to wonder if this was a good idea coming back onto this game, but you know, oh well, what can you do? Well, I keep saying this, I've run out of things to say. As Corey, by the way, has opened the gap up a little bit to Jake, so any hope we even had of that is gained about half a second. As Tony, in the top 10 now, and ahead of Robin into P8. And fighting away on the exit, Robin, but I'd be surprised if he goes for anything. And indeed, he will just sit behind. Only 2 drivers out there yet to pick up a penalty, and that is Corey, the race leader, and Jamie Wright in 4th place. Worth pointing out, I wonder who's got the most penalties actually, because I did mention there's a potential for disqualifications. Florian's got 15 seconds, and Jake's got 12 seconds. So, as it stands, Jamie Wright is actually running a net 2nd place here. So I was complaining about his pace and where is it gone, but actually, at the moment, if something happens to Corey, then it will be Jamie Wright, the direct beneficiary of that. So we will keep an eye on it as we just pass through the halfway point of this race.
Fingers crossed that something does happen to Corey. He's lost, this is exciting by the way, he's lost 3 temps on that lap. That's all I have for you. So,
when you're driving these races, Michael, because obviously it's been a while since I've raced, and Jacko just gave up when he tried to race. What's it actually like driving it? Because obviously the cars are a tad bit harder on this game than they are on 24, but everyone seems to be so consistent. So how does that work? How do you think that all works?
So interestingly, I think coming back to this game, the brakes feel 100 times better than on the F1 22 to 24 generation of cars. Like I can properly feel I can brake late. It's the traction feels trickier, but braking feels much better. I think one thing is definitely the dirtier is a lot harder to get around. I think we saw it, especially at that track, is mainly the DRS keeping you in, and then you kind of you can follow, but it's quite hard to really get enough overspeed to make up the pace through the corners to get enough overspeed down the main straight. So I think I suppose experience that everyone is that much better compared to back then, but I'm not too sure how, because I feel like there are some pros and cons in terms of how the cars feel, but in terms of how tidy everyone else is driving, I can't really pin on something. Maybe one thing, yeah.
I was gonna say, I do agree with what you say on the brakes. That could actually be one thing, because I never actually ran ABS, or I did run ABS when I played this game when it was first out. But since we came back to it, I've played a bit on career mode, and you do. I mean, I'm on pad in fairness, but it is quite consistent on the brakes. And once you get used to that, I can see why it'd be a lot more consistent. Because I mean, I think the biggest thing people have to get used to is the slight bit of delay you have in turning, because you don't have as many frames to play with on this game as you do on 24, because this is only a PS4 game, so you're not going to get the extra frame rate. And so I think once you sort of get past that, and the braking is just better on these cars because they've got a better front end, then yeah, maybe that is where it's all coming from. Yet we see some people crashing every week, as we've just seen Pete have another one. On the back of Leroy, so I suppose some things never change depending on what game you're on. And by the way, Jimmy Wright, while we're having that conversation, has now got a penalty, which means that Corey, he's the only he's the only one out there who's not got a penalty. He also, of course, won the last stage, which of course he did. We're on lap 32, so he didn't pit on this lap.
Yeah.
Will anyone pit? Johannes will pit.
Owen.
Yes.
Would you care to ask me what I've just done?
Jacko, what have you just done?
Well, Owen, I'm glad you've asked. I'm just putting the time actually in this. We have a yellow flag. No, it's gone again.
Calm
Never mind.
down.
I was just going to say I've just done my daily Duolingo lesson.
Penalty.
I can't believe it.
Just to carry on the streak, which is now up to 755 days. I'd like to. It's not happening.
What's a longer streak? Your Duolingo streak or Pete's winless streak? Surely it's Pete's winless streak.
Yeah, by a long way. That's about 8,000 days, isn't it?
Bloody hell.
Yeah, no. Pete is better at crashing than I am at Spanish, put it that way.
Yeah. Well, Corey's pitting. And he's pitting from the race lead, which he's held for most of the race. And he's going to get
7 laps.
Yeah, he's going to get some new softs on, which will give Jacob Sullivan the lead for now. And that's him happy to let Johannes do the undercut on him, which is interesting. He's going to obviously lose out anyway on the penalties, which last I checked was 12 seconds, and it's still 12 seconds, so he's going to lose out. Kieran, side by side with Corey. Does he fancy causing a bit of chaos? Wouldn't that be interesting? But he is ahead.
Hopefully. Come on, Kieran. Now, Kieran's not afraid of controversy around this track. We all remember Season 4's Championship 5 on the full circuit.
He's not afraid of controversy with Corey this season either, is he?
He's not actually, is he? No, good point. Hopefully this plays out into something magical.
Here we go.
If not, we've got a very long way to go. There's the move.
Oh, go on.
Oh, Kieran, what an idiot. He just drove off the track,
be
loses
fair,
the rear end.
It's a fantastic move from Corey, in fairness to him. But maybe driving like a champion, I dare say. He would be the league's 7th Cup Series champion. Does that maths check out? Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Oh, hello. Robin's gone
I
off
trust
again.
you to get it right.
I wouldn't.
Well, we've had a double champion in Jamie Wright, and we've had a triple champion in Jake, and then everyone else has been single champion, right? And then we've had 10 seasons, and Cleve's got 2 as well. So yeah, I think that checks out, doesn't it?
3, 4, 5, No, 3, 5, 7, and then Ben, Kieran, Pete makes it 10.
Kieran again.
So yeah.
Oh.
So yes, six champions so far. Corey would make it 7, or anybody new would make it 7.
Robin is
There's still
really
time.
trying to have an
There's still
accident here.
time.
He's done the old
What?
overheat the tires that he's just put on, and that's another thing as well, actually, that we can talk about, because you'll have noticed it whenever you've had your many spins, Michael. But the tires, when you have a spin, it is true, isn't it? When the tires, when you spin, they heat up to like 120, and it'll take 2 or 3 laps to cool
Yeah.
back down. But the problem with that is that obviously you've got no grip anymore because you've wrecked your tires, and so you're just going to keep spinning, aren't you, if you're not careful? And that's what Robin's been doing. Look at Corey, by the way,
Yep.
in the middle of Robin and Florian here, nearly having an accident. They are having a bit of an accident. I tell you what, Corey's not having an easy time of this. Interestingly as well, Jake has just come out of the pits ahead of Johannes, so the undercut's not really worked. Although he has got another penalty, has Jake, so I don't think Johannes really minds. And Corey coming through on Florian, but man, that was close.
I tell you
And the
what.
last, go on.
Ooh, here days. Robin is really feisty in this Cup Series campaign. I think he's always he doesn't back down easy, which is good. It's how you kind of survive in the Cup Series. But,
Yeah.
go on.
Not
I
bad
wish he
for
had
18th
that
in the
attitude the
championship.
other day. He's done really well. The other day when all 4 Germans let the race leader through and didn't even put up a fight. It was like, no, I don't want the blue flags, let the leader through, they were like. And I think that was when Corey was on his way to another win. But he's just let Corey through again. So, as
see.
feisty as he may be, he's a little bit boring on this occasion. Again, 18th in the
Robin.
championship, as he's gone off.
Oh dear.
So yeah, I have nothing else to add. I think we can look forward to next week in Austria, where it'll be more of the same.
Well, I mean, we
Well,
say
that's,
this, but I mean, Austria always does have a surprise first. I mean, there's a reason why it is the traditional
does.
closer for the regular season, because things do tend to happen there. And when it's a must-win for some drivers, Michael, including you and probably many others as well, going into next week, pretty much. What's he done?
He's pitted. I was hoping he would give Corey a fight.
Ah.
Carry on.
But yeah, everyone bar pretty. Hold on. Has Robin had another accident? Oh, it's not him. Sorry, Robin. It's Gareth, is it? Who's had an accident? I think it might be Gareth. But yeah, basically, everyone from 13th down in the championship is going to be a must-win next week. And it looks like at the moment, Mike out of the race and Risky down quite low. It's those two who are going to be fighting to get themselves into the playoffs via a win or a high points position. The reason I'm going on about this is because Risky was obviously a bit lower in the championship than this in season 2. In fact, he was bottom. And then he came to Austria and he won the race out of nowhere. And it was his first win. So that's what Austria can sort of bring up for us. And Risky, he'll certainly be looking for that again. Michael, you'll be looking for that, of course. And everyone else in the bottom half looking to try and destabilise a top 10, which currently contains all 5 of our current champions that are on the grid. Of course, Khalifa's not here. And we think that'll be the first time that ever happens, where all of the current champions that we have on the grid also qualify for the current season's playoffs, which is quite a remarkable stat, really, considering they're all champions. But it's basically been Pete's fault the last few years that it hasn't happened, as Florian gets in the way of Jake and Johannes, who nearly crash into him, but they've got away with it.
I feel like Ben Shaw might have dodged a bullet there, because he's definitely gone through the chase a couple of times.
And him too, but let's be honest, it's not as funny when it's him, is it?
It's not. Not Mr. 172 races without a race win.
Nah.
Oh, sorry, that slipped out. I didn't mean that.
Oh, Jimmy Wright's getting more penalties now. He's also 8 seconds now behind Johannes. So the overcut for him Not working yet, but he may have a little bit of pace. But obviously, if he keeps picking the penalties up, he's now going to have to close over 5 seconds to catch up to Johannes. He's now, as well, only 9 seconds of penalties behind Jake. So Jake may still end up on the podium today. So, yeah, Jamie's penalties are not helping his cause, either here or in the chase duel. Because it means he'll be finishing closer to Kieran in the race, and then obviously a lesser points gap. In fact, at the minute, he'd be getting 13 points for finishing 4th, and it'd be only, what, a 3-point difference, because Kieran's 7th, he'll be getting 10, which means he'll be going in with a 7-point lead into the final round of the regular season, as Corey does pick up another penalty. He needs to pick up quite a lot of another penalties to find himself in any trouble. Although, if you get a late safety car, if we have any slots left, that's where these penalties may come into play a little bit, but it would be Jake really taking all the pain on that one. Ben Harrett coming through on Jamie Griffiths into turn 1, and up in 9th place for him, which isn't too bad, I suppose, for him. Let's say he's had a difficult season this time around. He will still be a must-win next week, though, regardless of what happens here, I think. When we get to Austria. So closest fight on the track is the one for 2nd place, and we've seen it flip back and forward a couple of times as we lose Ben Shaw from this race, and that's an odd place to go up as we go to VS. I know. As we go to VSC again.
He's taking the bet.
This is ridiculous, isn't it? What do we have to do?
That's the last one.
It is the last one as well. He's lost it.
Fuck's sake.
He's lost it on the way out of what would be turn 12, I think, on this current layout. And, yeah, he's done it for no reason. Because it doesn't bring out a safety car. It does allow Tony into the pits. And Leroy as well. And Leroy... he took his first stop. Did he take his first stop under a safety car or not? Do you know what? I don't care, actually. Let him do whatever he wants.
It doesn't really matter. I've got a really good idea. We could call the race now and have a good evening, you know?
I know, we really could, couldn't we? Although, listen, Corey's lost a second here on this restart. Ooh.
Oh, that's massive.
Yeah, that is a race-defining moment, this, for Corey Dalton. As he goes ever so slightly wide of the final corner, but not enough to cause him any problems. As, he nearly equals his pole position lap on that lap. That's with the VSC involved. He's that fast. Anyway, up towards turn 1. Johannes picked up another penalty, which is good news for Jamie Wright. Because it now means that Johannes is on 12. And I'll tell you what, Kieran's actually only on 3. If he can get himself up the road, which, granted, needs a lot of pace, he may be able to nick a podium here. It just depends how much more these two in 2nd and 3rd pick up penalties, because they are racing each other out there, and they've got 16 more laps of it, and you would expect the penalties aren't finished yet for those two. Look at Leroy, by the way. He's got a train behind him, which includes Baza, Arnaud, and Jimmy Griffiths, so this should be interesting.
Wow, on the outside, the move that'll be, but he can't stick it. Jamie Griffiths on the inside can though. 2 in 1. How about that? That's exciting. I hope you caught it, Owen.
Send it on the inside.
I did catch it, and I'm now watching Arnaud trying to do it himself, getting 2 for 1, but instead it's yet another
wing
accident.
damage.
Oh, Arnaud, what a day for you, yeah. It's a shame Leroy's not part of it because he bothered to pit at the end of the lap. Maybe for his own sake, that was a good move. But Arnaud, he's gone and ruined his race for the 3rd or 4th time today. And Jamie Griffiths is way off the road.
Jimmy's off! Whoa!
Oh, that's flashback to lap 1 there. Crikey.
I know. Corey's got another penalty! Wow!
Oh, wow.
That was exciting.
Speaking of Arnaud, by the way, with Ben Shaw now out the race, at the all-time points record, the gap is 23 points, not including this race. Arnaud P2 in that one. So he can close the gap to Ben Shaw. Obviously only 10 races left of this season and JACKOCAR as we know it. So who is going to be the record points holder at the end of proceedings? I'm trying to build some excitement here as we see more pitters, Baza and Arnaud this time. Ben Harrett with another penalty.
He's doing that because he's defending against Tony at the minute, who currently wants that P6 spot, and Leroy's ignored a yellow flag. That's only on Jamie Wright, and he's not even that close to him. Yeah, that's a bit harsh, isn't it? And he still isn't letting him through. So, I mean, he's giving Jamie some DRS, which he won't mind too much. I mean, the dirty air can't help, but he is racing the guys coming out of the pits. And, you know, he can't really be expected to move. But anyway, well, he's got a penalty for it, so, I don't know, hardened criminal. As we see Ben Hart, again, IndyCar line through turn 17. It is very much been his thing, that today. Hard to tell whether he's getting away with it because he's getting penalties anyway. But I'm sure he's doing it for a reason. So, yeah. Let them do whatever they want, I suppose, at this point, as Baza himself picks up another penalty. Has anyone actually got an over 20 seconds of penalty yet? And that's not me taking the mick. We have got a couple. We've got Risky and
Lewis and
Florian. So, yeah, let's say keeping an eye on them, because you never know. A disqualification could pop up for them at any moment. Genuinely.
Ooh.
And Gareth with only 3 seconds.
Driver as well.
Who?
Oh, I think he had a drive through at the last BSC, so he's had a heavy day for penalties.
Yes, that's disastrous. He finds us 41 seconds off, and that is before the other penalties go through. I just want to say Gareth is the one out there who has the least amount of penalties. His Risky now moves up to 24 seconds. And so Gareth could find himself profiting. Of course, he's not at the front of the grid anymore. He did qualify on 2nd place, but still, he's tied with Kieran for the lowest penalty total. So yeah, we'll look for his name to shoot up. And Corey, he's just doing what he needs to do, isn't he? He's got a couple more lapped cars coming up, and that will. I mean, it is the most exciting part of his day, really, isn't it? As Jake and Johannes now run equal on the 15 seconds of penalties, which makes this a legitimate fight for once, because the whole time they've been unbalanced on penalties, but now it's an actual fight. That means this actually might get interesting.
I hate to burst that bubble, Owen, but it's the same top 3 that we have seen more so than any other top 3 this season. Johannes actually started the season really well with a couple of wins, and he's faded away. Can't match Corey, neither can Jake, although he did win last week, but Corey had an off day. But yes, let's enjoy this moment, as I'm sure Johannes will just sit behind Jake and be really boring, because that's what fast drivers do.
I tell you what, the trio that Corey's coming up to is probably a tricky trio to navigate if it's anyone to try and get past. I think Gareth might be quite hard to navigate.
Yeah, I was thinking actually I wonder how many cars Corey will lap, and then it made me think, what is the record for lapped cars in a Cup Series race? The answer, I don't know, but I am hoping that these guys, Gareth, Jamie and Mr. Lewis, make life hard for Corey, because he can't just sit there, because that gap behind him will close. We are now inside 10 laps to go as well. What will happen here? Oh, Gareth, don't be boring, man. Never mind. Owen, back to you. If you have anything to add.
I don't really. I'm looking at Arnaud on the back of Leroy. He's on the back of Jamie Wright. Oh, that could have been an accident. That actually could have been an accident. And sensibly, Leroy's actually had to turn right into turn 1 rather than left to avoid taking out the man in 4th place. But that does allow Arnaud through. But that got mighty close. But that is the end of that excitement. You say we are within 10 laps to go. Not quite. Corey actually has to get to the line.
I wish
first.
we were.
Then we would be within the last 10 laps. So, you know, let's be patient.
I'll tell you what, I'll take us through these final couple of corners. There's one of them done. This is the second one as Corey comes up the back of Florian. Risky's out, and we're now inside 10 laps to go. Is there going to be a safety car, Owen Wyatt?
I'm going to make a bold prediction saying no.
Of course there isn't.
Wow! Look at that. I can read these races, man. I tell you, this is why I've been in a job for 100 and odd, whatever many races.
You know what, as well? The two guys that are sat 11th and 12th in in the standings are the two
They're
that have
both
crashed out, which means Gareth and Pete are going to the playoffs. There's nothing they can do about it.
Of course, that would be true if there wasn't a race next week, which actually decides that.
They'll do the same again.
Well, I mean,
Corey's had a moment.
Right, okay, that's...
It's alright, he recovered.
Okay, Jimmy Wright's
Well,
got
he's
no
at 12
penalty.
seconds.
Oh, is he on 12
The gap
seconds?
is... Yeah.
There you go then. Closing in on the penalties record anyway, which was held by Risky. Now it's held by Florian, who now has 26 seconds. He ignored a blue flag, I think, which he's still doing actually. You get your mate disqualified in a minute because, 26 seconds of penalties, that is teetering on the edge of you're going... Just a disastrous
Like
race for him, isn't it?
Who's higher and higher?
I'm trying to tease the limit of how far you can get. What is the limit? Is it? I swear
think it's
someone
about
once got
30
38 seconds.
I think...
Yeah.
Maybe it's either 30 seconds or it's like 30 warnings or something like that. So, like, you can get warnings for collisions and stuff like that, and then you'd have less than 30 seconds of penalties and you get disqualified. I think if you get 30 warnings, the game's like, right, you're taking the piss now. So, we'll see if anyone gets there, but we're getting close regardless. I just want to mark that momentous moment that we're celebrating 5 years of the JACKOCAR Cup Series, and it's so boring that it's just been legitimately compared to Homes Under the Hammer.
Right. It's what came to mind, genuinely.
I was going to let it slide, but Owen, if you want to discipline Michael for that,
I mean, what's next?
then you're more than welcome to.
Flog it? Antiques Roadshow? I mean, is that where we're at now? This is the sign we're too old for this world. I think it's time to hang up the microphone. It's been a good run. I'll burn the orange outfit as well, just for good measure, you know. It's just the end.
No, you're keeping that.
Maybe if I'd worn that tonight,
still...
I could have ran with a face cam. That would have been the most interesting thing of the night, then.
That suit holds comedic value. Doesn't matter what the scenario. I want you to wear that at your sister's wedding. I don't know if you've got a sister, but if you don't, make sure you get one.
Right, okay. Don't know what I'm meant to do about that, but, yeah.
Well, it's simple. Tell your mother and father to get on it.
Do you know, I think I might not do that.
Okay, very well. Well, it's a lovely thought, at least, isn't it?
Yeah. We're not quite past the watershed yet, Jacko. Give it another 10 minutes, then
Are we not?
feel
10
free.
Minutes, yep.
Goodness
I think
sake.
we'll be done in 10 minutes, won't we?
I think that's a bit hopeful. We might be,
Please.
actually, yeah. We've been giving Corey a bit of airtime here while we've been talking about Homes Under the Hammer. And he's very much... He's just dominating, isn't he? He knows what he's doing.
So, Michael, what is your favourite daytime TV show that runs midweek? Is it Homes Under the Hammer, or have you got another classic up your sleeve? Tony's out.
Yeah, why has he done that?
Christ,
That's a deliberate DNF. I was live on board as he crashed into the pit wall by accident, and he must have quit in rage. I don't know. Yeah, I think he's rage quit.
His car was still driving down the pit lane, though.
I was on board with him as he entered the pit lane. He just lost the rear end and decided to hit the wall. I don't know. His car's now stopped in the pit lane. So if anyone else pits, I don't know if they're going to run into it. It's despawned, I think. Anyway, sorry, back to your daytime viewing habits.
Daytime viewing habits. I'll tell you what, is it Saturday Morning Kitchen, the cooking show? It's only one day a week, but it's quite a nice
Hold
one.
on. We're just going to a VAR check here. I'm pretty sure I asked for midweek.
Midweek.
You can't have Saturday Kitchen, Michael, for goodness sake, man. Listen to what I've requested.
Corey's got another penalty.
If we're talking midweek, I mean, it's been a while since I watched midweek telly, but Countdown maybe?
Countdown, I can get behind that, to be fair.
I can get behind Countdown.
I was hoping for like a Jeremy Kyle or something like that.
That's not me.
The JACKOCAR Cup Series didn't even exist by the time that got cancelled. That's a long time ago, the Jeremy Kyle show.
Did it not?
It was 6 years ago that got canned now.
Wow. I can't believe it's been that long.
I don't know. What about your daytime viewing habits then, Jack? I mean, you're actually quite old, so you might have had a chance to watch it before. I don't know, everyone else got Netflix and stuff. I mean, you're not that old, but you're old enough to be older than me.
No, I totally understand and appreciate what you're saying. Much like Michael, a midweek viewing session doesn't happen that often. But when it does, and like the telly does go on, any sort of like... I'll go down the same route as Michael, like a Gino D'Acampo, so like a Good Morning Britain, or something like that, sort of late morning, early afternoon, good vibes. Yeah, I make it the pancetta with cheese. That's my impression of Gino.
Obviously, as Gino D'Acampo is currently being investigated for sexual misconduct, I am not having anything to do with this conversation.
Well, of all the Italian chefs out there, he is the best, I think. I don't know any other Italian chefs, by the way.
Right. There you go. Gold on JACKOCAR.
What about you? And you live in a different country, so maybe things are different for you.
Well, I don't. I live in England.
TV.
I live in England.
Yeah, that's very true. If anything, you watch more midweek TV than us because you don't do anything. You're at uni.
Well, I mean, I've been in to watch the making countdown. I do like a bit of countdowns. I've always watched that. I don't mind the game shows. I'll stick Chase on every now and then just to see who takes the low offer, because it is genuinely heartbreaking TV when someone does it. And I don't. What else do I watch? My dad he likes Richard Osman's House of Games, so when I'm home I'll watch that. Yeah, I just watch game shows really. So, you know, it's not very. No, there's nothing good on TV anymore. Kieran loves EastEnders, which he's missed tonight.
He does.
I don't mind the soaps. I actually don't. In fairness, I don't mind the soaps, but I think Kieran might have a bit of a higher affinity to them than I do, and he's currently in 6th place. And if I could probably give him a few spoilers to tonight's episode. Martin dies. Okay, Martin dies, and if he watches this back, he's had it. He's had it.
Tell him to watch back lap 54 then.
Yeah, before watching EastEnders, watch back what I have to say on lap 54. Martin's dead. He's dead. Dead.
So, Michael Okeke, we've established that Martin dies. Just for your reference and the viewers at home, obviously the big Portugal holiday coming up at the end of April and early May. Kieran asked initially in the speed chat, is it, or do I require a VPN to watch EastEnders Omnibus in Portugal so that I can keep up and not miss any episodes? That was the question posed to him, and you can imagine the answers that he got back. Yeah, it didn't go down well, because especially he referred to EastEnders as Easties.
I did not expect that, I'll be honest. I watched EastEnders when I was younger, to be fair, so I can't really laugh at him, but I just didn't expect him to be watching EastEnders generally.
He's a big fan, I hear.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, man.
And in the middle of all that, Corey had a moment. Corey also got a penalty in the middle of all that.
Yes.
And yes, Owen, I'm well aware that I have something to say in a few seconds' time.
Yes.
So you know what? I will complete this lap, and then I'll let you bring us home after a marathon 56 laps. I don't even dare to wish or know how long it's been going on. The time is 4 minutes to 9 GMT, and we are finally going round this corner for the penultimate time this evening, as Corey in his usual colours brings us round. He'll go the Fanatec hoarding and into the final corner. And you'll never guess what, and I'm so glad I'm saying this. It's 1 lap to go in JACKOCAR here in Austin. Corey Dalton on his way to what will be a 16th Cup Series win. He'll do what Jori Hazelager did in the Kia Series, that's win 16. He is still some way behind Khalifa Jamie and Jake O'Sullivan, as they are on 18, 19 and 20 wins respectively. But he is very much in that category of serious contenders for championships. He just needs to add a championship to his name. Owen Wyatt.
He's got another penalty as Corey, but here comes Kieran up the inside of Ben Harrett, and they're fighting away. Corey, I mean, do you know what? If Corey picks up one more penalty on this lap, he could lose this race, and I'm not even joking. So he's actually got to be really careful, because this would be the most pathetic way to lose a win I've ever seen. So Corey, I swear to God, don't go bottle it like this, because I don't think I'll ever talk to you again. As he comes around the final two corners, he's dominated this race. He's tried to tease us with penalties. He's lapped all the way up to 8th place, I think. As he crosses the line, Corey Dalton has won here in Kota. We'll be back here again in, well, just a week's time, a week or two's time. So we'll be here for the full layout. Johannes, 3.1 behind, and Jake 3 behind him. So that was actually quite close, Corey, in the end. Jamie Wright took a pit stop, and I think he's in a fastest lap race at the moment with Kieran. A fight he's winning, and he needs these because obviously he's ahead here, and he'll need to be a lot more ahead than this when we get to Austria next week, and he fights to win the chase duel. So he finishes 4th. Kieran has got ahead of Ben Harrett. They were fighting away. He's got a lot less penalties anyway. So he would have been ahead by a good 20 seconds. He actually ends up only 8 seconds behind Jamie Wright in the end. Ben 6th. Pete Knighton will be the last finisher. And up to 8th place was all that. Gareth, Jamie, Arnold, Leroy, Baza, Robin and Florian. Retirements being Tony, Risky, Ben Shaw, Mike, someone else, and okay. Who was the other one? Dustin.
Someone else.
Okay, it went off screen too quickly. But yes, I got him. It was Dustin. It was fine. But it's 15 seconds to 9. So unfortunately, we're going to have to go through the order, and that means we will just about make it to 9 o'clock, which hurts my soul really. So I'm going to actually skip the celebrations, because what have we to celebrate here? Look at all these penalties. As Corey Dalton wins, we'll quickly run through the order again. From Johannes, Jake, Jimmy, Kieran, Pete, who's done quite well actually considering he had many accidents. He's come from 19th, not too bad. Ben Harrett, Gareth, Jamie Griffiths, Arnold, Leroy, Baza, Robin and Florian. Retirements being Tony, who retired on purpose, Risky, Ben Shaw, Mike, Dustin and yourself, Michael. Started last and you classified last. What a surprise.
Take that.
Right, it's 9 o'clock. This has been the worst birthday ever. There will be another one.
Happy birthday, then?
No, the league's happy.
No,
the league's birthday is
not
fine.
that
Oh, sorry.
This
I
is
will correct Owen once again, like I did at the start of the stream. It's not the birthday.
It is the Cup Series
of our first live
birthday.
broadcast.
It's the Cup Series 5th birthday. It's a rubbish birthday as well, right? Disastrous, and there will not be another one. This league will be dead in a few weeks. And good riddance if the races are like that. The drivers need to seriously sort this out for the next race. Come on. Please. We're begging you. You can see my team save on there as well. See, I put more effort into this than I have into this blimmin' commentary at this point. Absolutely. We could have just watched you play in my team. It would have been more interesting. But we're finished now. So I'm going to stop because we've been going for nearly 1 hour and 40 minutes. And nothing happened in that time, apart from a discussion about Holmes under the hammer and Jacko revealing he likes sex pests. So, we knew that anyway. Happy to Wyatt. Jack Griffiths has been with me. Michael KK crashed out and joined us. Thank you for joining us. But we're going to end this now. Cheerio. See you on Tuesday. We'll see you on Tuesday as well. For what should actually, hopefully, be a decent Austrian Grand Prix. The last race of the regular season, the last Tuesday race ever. We'll see you then. Safe travels.